Hello students, welcome to ePathshala. I am Amitabh Dwivedi, Associate Professor in Public Administration. In this module, we are going to discuss basically the challenges before the implementation of welfare policies. Although India can claim to have made huge strides in the field of industrial development or scientific development. However, the same cannot be said about the welfare programs or providing social opportunities to the people. Although huge allocation of funds have been made for implementing various welfare programs, yet the success is very limited. There is a general perception that there is lack of amenities, facilities, or even basic infrastructure as far as the rural population is concerned. Moreover, the poverty, the employment generation progress is also very limited. In this context, we are going to discuss what are the challenges in the implementation of welfare programs or why the welfare programs have failed to meet the targets, goals and objectives. The objectives of the module are to analyze the relevance of policies and evaluating the impact or effect these policies create. One can point out at many achievements that India has attained, varying from successful functioning of a multi-party democratic system to the emergence of a large scientific community and the development of industries. But India's overall success in promoting social opportunities has been quite limited. Despite of all huge allocations made by Government of India, there is a general feeling that the development in basic infrastructure and amenities facilities are not perceptible, especially in rural areas. Further, the standard of living of the people is still very poor and the employment opportunities to the young people are still considered to be very limited and inadequate. Therefore, in this paper, the focus of study will be to determine what are the challenges or regions that targeted goals or outputs of various policies are not achieved even after planning for long. Causes for inefficient implementation of welfare programs and schemes are numerous, ranging from corruption, resource constraints, and administrative apathy to broader cultural norms. However, these can be classified under three broad heads, namely general policy design, funds, and administrative and institutional arrangements. General policy design. The major cause for ineffective implementation of various social welfare policies is the design of the policy. In most of the cases, the policies or programs are structured and planned by the legislators placed at the center or the union level who do not have the knowledge of the local conditions. They follow the one-size-fits-all approach or the top-down approach and frame a policy without keeping in mind the view that there lies a huge diversity in terms of geography, socio-economic and physical structure. Therefore, a single policy design cannot produce the same effective results in all the places. Example 1. Indira Awas Yojana, which is the social welfare program implemented by the Government of India in 1996 to provide housing facilities for people below poverty line. The main cause for its unsuccessful implementation and its failure in reaching the poorest of the poor is the design of the program. The issue of land is a major hurdle. The majority of poor people do not possess their own land and live on the land that belongs to others. For example, land of landlords or government land, etc. The Indira Awas Yojana does not have any provision for providing houses to poor people who do not possess their own land. So, in the absence of land distribution measures, poor people with no land are left out of the program and thus remain deprived of the benefits offered by Indira Awas Yojana. Example 2. Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act (MNREGA), which is a flagship program of UPA government initiated in 2005 to provide guaranteed employment for 100 days to the unskilled labor in rural areas, is supposed to be implemented through Gram Panchayats. This mandatory provision creates problem in the path of its implementation in the areas covered under 5th Schedule of Indian Constitution. As in the areas under the 5th Schedule, where as many as 63 backward districts are located, the quality of local bodies is expected to improve only after the enactment of the Panchayat Extension to the Scheduled Areas Act 1996. So, the effective implementation of MNREGA depends on the successful implementation of PESA funds. Funds play a crucial role in the implementation of any policy, project or program at any level. Without the monetary assistance, no scheme can be carried out. The importance of the concept of funds can be understood from various standpoints such as allocation of funds, utilization of funds, and the source of funds. The source from where the funds are generated becomes significant, as once the funding of any project or program stops, it makes the program or the policy defunct. Example: Indira Awas Yojana is an example which shows the importance of funds and its leakage or misutilization, leading to failure of proper implementation of policy. According to Indira Awas Yojana provision, payment should be made to the beneficiary on a staggered basis depending on the progress of work. The entire money should not be paid to the beneficiary in lump sum. Installments of payments to be linked to the progress of work can be decided by the state government or at the district level. Ideally, the fund should be distributed to the beneficiaries in 2 installments. The first installment with the sanction order and the second installment when the construction reaches the lintel level. However, the leakage of funds has made the implementation of building households a difficult task. For instance, in many cases, even after starting the building of their houses, the beneficiaries could not complete the construction, because the meager amount they get as first installment is not sufficient to meet the required condition. That is, the progress work of construction should reach lintel level for getting the second installment. The beneficiaries did not receive further installments and so could not complete the construction of their houses. Administrative and institutional arrangements. For the accomplishment of the goals of social welfare policies within targeted time frame, the responsibility is vested on various institutions and administrative units. Therefore, when a policy fails, it means that there are loopholes in the administrative and institutional arrangements. The administrative and institutional arrangements include the resources such as staff, manpower, infrastructure, proper planning, proper demarcation of roles of administrative units such as state governments, local governing bodies, etc. It has been observed that due to following limitations, the welfare policies in India are not able to produce the desired outcomes. Lack of technical and professional staff. It is not just difficult but impossible for a single man to carry out all the administrative responsibility single-handedly. Any leader requires a body of people whom he or she can direct and lead to achieve the desired goals of the organization. Therefore, it is important to have adequate staff for the successful implementation of any policy or program. Lack of technical and professional staff have negative impact on proper functioning of policies. Example, every state government is required to appoint in each block a full-time program officer exclusively responsible for the implementation of the NREGA. The state government, however, directed block development officers to take additional charge to implement NREGA. The Comptroller and Auditor General report find out that 19 states had not appointed these officers in 70% of the blocks surveyed. Besides, one employment guarantee assistant is to be appointed in each Gram Panchayat. According to the CAG report, 52% of 513 Gram Panchayats surveyed had not appointed these assistants. Lack of infrastructure. Infrastructure is the basic physical and organizational structure needed for the organization of society or the enterprise. The basic physical structure of for the community or country includes roads, drinking water facility, sewage, schools, hospitals, etc. These basic structures are considered essential for enabling productivity in the economy. Shortage of these infrastructure leads to unsuccessful performance of many policies. Example, the Common School System Commission, Bihar, in its report estimated that in order to universalize free and compulsory education for children in the age group of 6 to 14 in 5 years, universalize education for children from classes 9 to 10th in 8 years, and to facilitate transit to classes 11 and 12 or 70% of those who will pass class 10 in 9 years, 5,900 additional primary schools, 500 middle schools and 100 secondary schools will have to be built. The number of additional teachers to be recruited for achieving the goals would be 2.55 lakhs at primary level, 3.24 lakhs at middle level and 4.29 lakh at secondary level. It stands to reason that the very first and most essential requirement to be fulfilled for universalizing quality education is to build these additional schools, recruit these additional teachers and provide training for them. But the Right to Education Act 2010 does not make any attempt to quantify these requirements. Lack of proper project planning. Planning is the most important part for any program or policy to be successful. Planning refers to the process of setting goals, developing strategies and outlining tasks and schedules to accomplish the goals, and also help in deciding objectives both in quantitative and qualitative terms. But in case of policies initiated by Indian government, we find that most of the policies lack proper planning, due to which they are unable to produce desired results. Example, NREGA specifically mentions the creation of durable productive assets in the forms of roads, improving rural infrastructure, drought proofing, watershed development, water conservation, etc. The survey by the CAG found that though it promises for various assets, but its main focus is on rural connectivity and wells. Other meaningful projects for rural transformation were conspicuous by their absence. Similar is in the case of Indira Awas Yojana, where community facilities such as internal roads, drainage, drinking water supply, etc. and other common facilities were not provided to Indira Awas Yojana dwellings. Lack of accountability. Accountability is considered as an important aspect of democracy. It is defined as an ability of the citizens to put effective pressure on officials who deviate from expressed wishes of a majority among them. However, in most of the cases, we find that though there are provisions for promoting accountability and transparency in every policy, but they are not followed because of loopholes. Example: the employment register in many Gram Panchayats were not maintained or missed details on the type and duration of employment demanded, the employment allotted, and the employment that was actually taken up. Muster rolls and muster roll issue and receipt registers did not carry the required unique identification numbers and did not furnish information on: number 1, the name of the person working; number 2, the respective job card number; number 3, the work order number; number 4, the number of days worked; and number 5, the wages paid. Due to these deficiencies, wages had been paid to unregistered and fictitious workers and to workers whose names had been recorded 2 or 3 times for the same time period, resulting in overpayment. In addition, the Gram Panchayats did not keep photocopies of the muster rolls for public inspection, and the block program officer typically did not digitalize the muster rolls. In reality, the CAG audit report identifies pronounced deficiencies in the preparation and/or maintenance of all types of records at all levels of local government. Major deficiencies concern the improper and untimely maintenance of the employment register, application registration register, the job card register, the asset register, the muster rolls, the muster roll issue and receipt register, and complaint register. Lack of transparency and absence of social audit. In public administration, transparency refers to unfettered access by the public to timely and reliable information on decisions and performances in the public sector. However, in many cases, it is found that in the absence of social audits, transparency has not been maintained. Example: although the NREGA has provisions for transparency in the process of implementation, in actual practice, data on the work done and payments made for various kinds of job is kept as a closely guarded secret. As a consequence, there is a mockery of social audit. Even some of the fake NGOs are prepared to verify social audit by charging a ridiculously low fee per panchayat. As a result, most radical provisions of the NREGA are violated with impunity. Corruption. Corruption has also taken a toll on the proper implementation of the program. Corruption is a complex social, political, and economic phenomenon that affects all countries. Corruption undermines democratic institutions, slows economic development, and contributes to government instability. Example: it has been found that huge corruption is taking place in the selection procedure of the beneficiaries to avail the benefits of social welfare programs. For instance, the beneficiaries of the Indira Awas Yojana are supposed to be selected by the Gram Panchayats, but it has been found that a majority of the beneficiaries have not been selected by them. This has resulted in many amongst the poor being left out from the program, whereas people who are not in the BPL section are availing the benefit of the Indira Awas Yojana. Moreover, allegations have been made that out of the total amount allocated to the Indira Awas Yojana, officers and others in various offices have appropriated funds from the program on an individual basis. To conclude, we can say that expansion of social opportunities has been the central theme in our development journey. Planners have been working since independence to provide basic amenities and infrastructure. To some extent, we have been successful in reducing the intensities of deprivation. However, we have a long way to go for providing acceptable living conditions to our people. Thank you.